Hello and welcome into this week's Sideline Guys powered by Gainbridge. I'm Pat Boylan, as always, alongside Jeremiah Johnson, and we are thrilled this week to be joined by the newest member of the Indiana Pacers, Thomas Bryant. And getting traded mid-season, it can be a challenge. Your life kind of gets uprooted. You oftentimes don't have a lot of say in a trade, but at the same time, Thomas, you're coming to a place that you're familiar with due to your college days, a place that really values what you bring and your skill set, and a coaching staff with a lot of experience. So take me through all of the emotions when you found out the trade was happening.
Oh, man, it's been a whirlwind. It's just been constant movement, but, you know, the trade happened, and just the immediate response I got from the guys here in Indy was absolutely outstanding. Like, they welcomed me with open arms, and, you know, right then and there, I just felt right at home, you know, being here.
When you look at the roster, unfortunately, the Pacers have suffered a couple of injuries at your position, which kind of led to the need to trade for you. But when you look at this roster and you look at how you can fit into it, what do you see?
I see a lot of things that I can bring to the floor. You know, my intensity, the attention to detail, rebounding, and, you know, the energy that I bring out there on the floor that I try to give infectiously to my teammates instead of detrimental. I think that's a real big thing and key for us, you know, with me being here on the team.
One of the things that Rick Carlisle said, I think 3 or 4 different times, if I combine the pregame press conference, the postgame media availability from Sunday, was how much you wanted to be here. Could you explain maybe to some of the viewers who love hearing that? People love hearing someone wants to be in Indiana, they want to be a Pacer. How Rick knew that and how accurate that was?
No, it was very accurate. You know, just for me being here from my former time here at Indiana, you know, playing in front of these Indiana fans and, you know, really getting to know the culture of basketball here. And for me to come back and be a Pacer, you know, it feels great to actually, you know, kind of relive those feelings again of being back here in Indiana and playing in front of these fans. And, you know, they love and breathe basketball here, and that's what I love about it too, because I love and I breathe, and everything about it is basketball with me.
It's a natural question probably from the reporters after the game, and will be maybe for the first couple of weeks till people see you in that uniform. They think of you in the other uniform, the Indiana University uniform. But how would you sum up that time that you spent in Bloomington, and how impactful was it to allow you to still be in the NBA today?
You know, it was very impactful for me, you know, being at Indiana under Tom Crean and his guys and playing with some of the great guys that have been there, you know, with Yogi Ferrell, Rob Johnson, James Blackman, Troy Williams, OG Anunoby, Juwan Morgan, Harrison. Those are just some of the guys, you know.
Good job off the top of your head.
From a long group of guys that, don't be mad at me if I didn't mention your name, guys. I still remember you. You know, Colin Hartman, Zach.
They'll be calling for tickets.
Yeah. You know, but it felt great just being down there in Indiana, you know, from an inner city kid and, you know, learning the attention to detail, the film work, the amount of time that you have to put into the extra reps, you know, learning that from Tom Crean and the guys around me at Indiana, and just learning the game of basketball even more. You know, the fast-paced up and down game that we played at Indiana and translated it here, you know, it's kind of familiarity right there, so it feels great.
You know how rabid the IU fan base is. Maybe you were too focused as you were entering the first time, but did you happen to notice the cheer you got when you entered the game for the first time, and did that surprise you at all? Because I think it caught some people off guard.
It caught me off guard. I'm not gonna lie. I was trying to stay focused on the game, and you know, that cheering and the infectious energy that I got from checking into that first time in the field house, man, it felt great just to feel that energy and the love from the fans.
Another thing that Rick has talked a lot about over the last couple of days is your ability to stretch the floor, a little bit like Miles' game as well. Do you feel like that has always been a part of your game and maybe you've gotten to showcase it more in the NBA, or is that something that you've really worked on as the game has modernized?
It's always been in my repertoire, you know, ever since I was a younger kid. There was guys back at home in Rochester, New York, where they've seen me shoot the ball really well, and I'm just really happy that I'm able to showcase that talent with this team here.
Couple of housekeeping items. People are always interested to know when a player comes aboard, what number is he going to wear? Tell us about 3 and what went into that decision.
Yes, I'm wearing number 3. It was really a big decision right there. You know, I was just thinking about it and just felt like 3 was
They told you what ones were available?
Yeah, they told me the ones that were available. My usual numbers that I usually wear weren't available. You know, a Hall of Famer has the one that I usually wear, so, you know, I couldn't get that one. But it feels good to wear this number 3. I hold 3 close to me, and it feels good to just put a new chapter onto it.
And then a couple of people, T.J. McConnell, I think Jarris Walker after practice on Tuesday were referring to you as TB. Are we okay to just say TB?
Yes.
Or Thomas or
Yes.
Tom? Not Tom, probably. I've never heard anyone say
Nah,
just Tom.
nobody's called me Tom, but everybody has called me TB ever since 9th, 10th grade. So I respond to both of them.
Is that how you introduce yourself? Because I'm picturing the locker room before the walkthrough on Sunday.
Yes.
You're kind of going around meeting everybody. You say, call me TB?
Yes.
Or did they already know that?
Yeah, pretty much everybody already knows it.
Yeah. It's not like you're new to the league.
Yeah, at first, when I'm first introducing myself, I'll introduce myself with my name, but after that, I'll just say, just call me TB.
It's kind of similar. I introduced Jeremiah Johnson, but they'll call me JJ. Now there's 2 JJs on the team too, so maybe a little confusing, but I'm glad we got that clarified.
I've got a clip here I want you to watch. You don't need to watch the whole thing because it's an extended clip, but hopefully you will recognize the game, and I'm curious if you can give me your thoughts if and when you do remember this game.
I already remember that. I remember that game. I remember this game vividly. Phoenix and Washington. It was 14 for 14 from the field, right?
Yes. So for those who don't know, he was 14 of 14 from the field. And there's only one guy in league history who's ever topped that, and his name is Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah.
What do you remember about that? Did you know at the time that you had done anything historic?
I had no idea. My main focus was just trying to play well for the guys and taking advantage of the opportunity that was given to me. And going against a really good Phoenix team at the time. They had great role players, great guys. Devin Booker as the head of the snake of that team, and to go in, I think it was 2 or 3 overtimes, and to show the resiliency and be able to get that win, that was really big for us.
Wilt has that famous picture when he's holding up 100. Maybe they should have had you hold up like a 14 for 14 in the locker room or something like that.
Maybe. Was there a story though where it carried over and it was a streak of consecutive attempts without a miss to the next game?
Yes, I believe so. It was pretty good.
Because then you had a lot of time to think about it. So then were you nervous about which shot you were going to take?
No, I wasn't.
Yeah.
I was just trying to focus on just being in the present moment, trying to make the shots be a force for the team that I was on and everything. And, it just kind of took off from there. Yeah.
A lot of that was your ability to get to the rim and physicality inside. But, I mean, what's a game like that feel like when you've really got it going?
Oh, it feels great. It's like you're in that mode of just like nothing can really bring you down or take you out of what you're doing right there. So it's like when you're in that moment, you try to stay as much as you can in that moment and focus on it instead of just everything else that might happen around you.
When I thought of you, when your name came about that it was potential you were coming to Indiana, I immediately thought, TB can help with rebounding. But that, your Ray Carlisle mentioned a stretch 5 in your outside shooting, even though you haven't had high numbers of attempts outside the arc. But what would you say your best strength is?
I would say my best strength right now is the defensive communication, offensive communication, and making sure we get buckets at the rim as well. The bread and butter is always getting easy buckets at the rim, either dunks, layups, floaters, and then also be able to stretch the floor and also being able to rebound as well. When I was on the Lakers, that was a real big thing for me that I took in front of just helping the team rebound defensively, offensive rebounds, no matter the time that I'm out there. And I feel like I could bring the same thing to this team.
Rebounding is something that could stand to improve a little bit. So we've talked about rebounding a lot on the podcast. You mentioned communication. TJ said you reached out to him asking for advice or input on whether it's adjusting to the scheme and the system. Share a little bit about that conversation, or was it text, or how did you do that?
Yeah, so TJ actually texted me, congratulating me on being on the Indiana Pacers, and my next text back was thank you, but also asking him what can I do to help with the team? What can I bring, to help get us even more success? With me joining a team that's already had success in the past, is already in the flow of things as well, going into this season as well. For me, I'm like the new kid on the block now, trying to get up to speed with everybody. But for me, it was just trying to reach out and see what I can do immediately to help the team. I want to be able to help this team gain more success And I'm not here to, say like, I need to do this, I need to do that. No, it's a team game. So I wanted to reach out to the vets, and guys, the starters and the guys that play big minutes and the superstars here, and just see what I can do to help this team in a way that can bring more success.
Stylistically, the Pacers do play fairly differently than Miami. They want to play a faster paced game, and obviously they wouldn't have brought you in if they didn't feel like you could do that. But has there been a significant learning curve, or have things kind of fit together quickly here for you?
Things have kind of fit together quickly with the fast-paced game. I remember that, with Indiana, playing with the Hoosiers, we were an up and down, fast-paced team, wanted to score 100+ in games. But the only big difference is, the plays, the schemes, getting the calling down and the timing right with the guys. And that'll go, as time goes on. But for me, it's just like I'm trying to be right then and there, so that way there's no lapse, there's no hangover, if that makes sense. And just, so that way we can, if we want to play faster, we can play faster. We don't have to slow down and be like, hey, TBR, you here? You up to date? You're up to date? No, I'm right here with you.
You talked about just the whirlwind that all of this is. I mean, how do you balance, compartmentalize it all, because you're trying to learn new teammates and a new playing style and a new playbook, and at the same time, you've got an off-the-court life where you're trying to, maybe figure out what that looks like here for the next few weeks, and oh yeah, big road trip coming up. I mean, it just seems like it could be overwhelming. How do you keep that from happening?
Well, for me, like I said before, I just try to stay in the present time and just try to take it one step at a time, one day at a time. Not trying to get too overwhelmed, and just try to say, if I got like 4 or 5 things I got to get done, all right, let's not think about the whole big thing. Let's just knock one down at a time, and you'll be done with it before you know it. And that's why I'm trying to bring the same mindset here, just from, getting my stuff from Miami, bringing it here, the cars, my dogs, my girlfriend, and everything else that goes along with it. It's a difficult time right here, but this is what we signed up for. So, you always have that in the back of your mind if you get traded or anything like that. So that way it's not so much of a shock when it happens.
Is that where it does help, even though it's been a while since college, you're not coming to foreign territory? I mean, you know your way around like 465 a little bit. Like, did it all start coming back to you?
Yeah, it does. It all starts coming back to me. When I got off that plane, it felt so familiar with the airport. Then coming into the city, I'm like, oh, I know where Lucas Oil Stadium is. I know where the field house is. Oh, that hotel is this, then that. All the food spots and everything. So it wasn't so much of a shock. It was just like getting better at familiarity right here.
Second round pick. So, I mean, where you're at right now to have this conversation in 2024 going into 2025, no matter what happens, you have to consider this a success. But what's this journey been like for you to sort of get to this point? And did you kind of feel like you were, with where you were drafted, always kind of proving people wrong?
Oh, yes. Always having to prove people wrong and, be ready when your time has come. But, overall, and I can't complain, man. I'm blessed. For me, just coming from the inner city, Rochester, New York, and just to be here, the NBA team, I actually had this conversation, I think it was 2 or 3 days ago, of just like being in a moment and just realizing like what you're doing, like the little things right here, being able to talk to you guys, wear this jersey, this Indiana jersey, be here to play for the Pacers, man. Like, this is a blessing, and for me, it's like you're in the less than 1 percentile to be able to say you're on an NBA team, you play in the NBA. Like, you can't take moments like this for granted, because, you never know when this might end, and things can change in a blink of an eye. Like me getting traded, like it happened right then and there. Next thing you know, I had to get on a flight, come to here, learn a new playbook, learn all the guys and everything, and things happen so fast, and sometimes we don't really get to process everything. But for me, it's just being in this organization, this national basketball organization, man, association, it's a blessing to be here, to practice with the guys, to share the floor with the guys, to play games out here. I just try to never take a day like this for granted.
It's really cool perspective, because I think a lot of guys maybe get that perspective after their career is over, and for you to have it right now, I mean, do you feel like you've always been that grounded, or was there a moment where just how fortunate you are to have this opportunity kind of hit you?
I've always tried to stay grounded for myself, even when I was in Rochester, when I wasn't doing this thing. And, my mom and dad always grounded me. My older brother always grounded me, and they always said thank God. You know, when you wake up, thank God. When you go to sleep, thank God. You know, always be appreciative of what you have, because it can always be worse. And appreciate the things that you don't have. You know, if you don't have it, you don't need it. If you have it, you need it. You have it. And if you keep working for it, you might get more things, you know? But it's the thing about just never taking anything for granted, man, and always being happy of what you have.
It's great perspective. I've got a couple off-the-wall questions. JJ, you can then wrap us up if you want. First one, this is really off the wall, but we as broadcasters appreciate it. You've got a great voice. Have you ever considered voiceover work or anything like that?
I have. I actually thought about broadcasting a little bit, and it was something that I thought about with my college major and everything. But it is something that's been in the back of my mind.
Normally, I don't have to sit here and worry that the player has the better voice than me, but I'm kind of getting sweaty palms here.
Hey, no.
You're already better at enough stuff than me. Don't take this.
You're a professional, man.
Final one here. Careful how you answer. IU football. Have you been able to follow them?
Oh, yeah.
Your thoughts on IU Notre Dame?
Why does he have to be careful?
Well, I was just making sure that he was going to take IU's side, because you got a.
But Notre Dame's in state, so he.
Right.
Yeah. But
No, you're. I just wanted to make sure you weren't going to say something like, I was really just focused on basketball, and
No.
if so, make it up. Make it up.
Oh, no.
What are your thoughts on IU? Because this state has just been infatuated with this matchup for 2 weeks now.
Boy, I've been looking forward to the matchup for 2 weeks, man. But just to see the guys on Indiana football just had that success, top 10 ranked. We're a football school now, baby. I love it. Basketball and football school. Not too many people can say that now. But it feels great to see that success for the guys, man. Just being there for me. When I was there, we didn't have that much success. And, we used to get super lit when guys got bowl games, man. But, these guys are winning games, man. They're ranked and everything, doing their thing. And it's all the praise to them, the new coach that they have as well, the culture that they're building. It's a blessing to see it, man, and it's beautiful.
That's awesome. Back to basketball with one final thought from me. You joined the team 11-15. I know maybe not what some had wanted after last season, but as you saw the team from afar, and then now you've joined them, what pieces are in place that give you the confidence, the viewers could have confidence that this group is close to kind of putting it all together and kind of going on a run again in the second half of the season?
I think, first of all, it's just getting everybody back from injuries. The guys I know throughout the time of me watching the Pacers, from afar, they dealt with a lot of injuries this year. So guys are getting healthy. We're getting guys back. The team chemistry is getting better. And, I think that's a forefront right there. And I have full confidence with this team, especially throughout the few practices that I've had. There's a confidence standard that's there. No matter what we're doing, whether it's a home game, an away game, everybody has a confidence. Everybody's got their back. It's a close-knit group. They're connected, and you just don't get that with a lot of teams, really. So it might be slow at first for some people, but I think throughout the time, as people get back, guys get back from injury, you'll see another great spark of winning consecutive games and, getting over the humps in the playoffs.
You mentioned the transition, whether people are listening to this, maybe traveling over the holidays or relaxing off of work. This has to be a little bit odd for you that you're getting ready to go on a road trip that'll go until, right before Christmas. And then, your family maybe had plans to see you one place and now they've got to see you another place. What's the next 2 weeks like for you off the court?
Next 2 weeks for me off the court are it's kind of like the same being on the court. Like you get off of work here, now you got more work here. Just trying to connect with family, making sure they're good, and trying to see your family as much as you can throughout this time. With different flights, different situations, coming from one place to another. But it's all it's great. My family has been there for me. They've been a really, really great support system for me.
All right. Well, some people that have been watching this have been fans of yours for almost a decade now. Some have been fans of yours for almost a week now. So what would your message be to those old and new fans here as you return to Indiana?
Well, I still have that infectious energy that you guys remember me from at Indiana, and I'm here to help the team so that way we can have more success. And I guarantee you that you will get my all every day, every game, every practice, every single day out. So I'm happy to be here. There's no other place that I'd rather be than right here, right now, to help this team win.
It's been a real pleasure to have you. Thank you very much for your time.
I think we're going to have to
perspective.
get the 3 jerseys at the team store pretty quickly because they're gonna fly off the shelves.
Well, for Thomas and JJ, I'm Pat. Thanks all for watching. Thanks all for listening. If you happen to listen to this podcast, we do have a video version available. Just check out the Indiana Pacers YouTube. For Thomas and JJ, I'm Pat. We'll talk to you next week on the Sideline Guys, powered by Gainbridge.